Time now for our press view, for which I'm joined by Alison Sargent. Hi, Alison. Starting off in India and trouble for Prime Minister Modi.
That's right. This is after a newspaper report came out accusing his government of hiding record levels of unemployment. This was released in an Indian financial paper, the Business Standard, on Thursday. They leaked findings from the National Unemployment Report that showed unemployment reached a 47-year high of 6.1% in 2017. Now, that may not sound like a lot, but it's triple what it was just 5 years ago when Narendra Modi took office. The government has refuted this report. That's what we read on the front page of the Times of India this morning. They said the numbers are based on a draft version of the report that haven't been finalized or approved yet. The Business Standard, though, is standing by their numbers. They write that even if this isn't the full report, well, that shouldn't take away from the broader point, which is that the government has really been stalling in releasing this survey, one that they say presents an alarming picture of joblessness in India.
And the exact opposite of what the Prime Minister promised when he was elected 5 years ago.
Exactly, it is. Modi was elected on promises of job creation, particularly for younger people. Now he will be seeking re-election in just several months. So this record unemployment rate, if it comes to be true, would cast a huge shadow over his prospects. That's exactly what we see in this cartoon by the Indian cartoonist Irfan for Outlook India. We see Modi looks pretty nervous there in the face of that shadow. He's sweating a little bit.
OK, the Gilets jaunes, yellow vest protesters are constantly in the headlines here in France. Meanwhile, in neighbouring Belgium, it's climate protesters.
That's right. Youth climate protesters, to be exact. Every Thursday for the past 3 weeks, students have been skipping school to protest in Belgium. They plan to continue protesting up until the European elections in May. They're making the front pages of many of the Belgian papers today. This one, La Capitale, headlines that these students are more passionate than ever. Lots of hope in the press that these protests will ultimately have an impact on politicians. We see in this next cartoon the Belgian Prime Minister Charles Michel depicted as a snowman, and these students are saying he won't last much longer, he's melting already. Now, the kids are missing school to do this, and you may ask, well, why don't they protest on the weekend? But missing school, it turns out, is really the whole point. I like this headline from the French paper Libération. They quote one of the students who says, "Why go to school if we don't have a future?"
OK, we're going to head to Germany next, and controversy over something relating to World War II.
That's right. This is plans to build a sausage museum on a site that once housed a satellite concentration camp. This site was a satellite of the larger Buchenwald camp. It was used to imprison hundreds of Jewish women between 1944 and 1945. Now, the site was purchased by investors in 2008, and unsurprisingly, there are reservations about the plans to build a Bratwurst Museum there. But we do read in Der Spiegel that the spokesperson for the nearby Buchenwald Memorial said that they are not categorically opposed, but they do want to see propositions for how the museum would appropriately incorporate a commemoration for Holocaust victims. Now, other papers do seem more opposed. We can take a look at the tabloid Bild, one of the first papers to report the story. They call this idea revolting, but they do echo the perspective of the Buchenwald Museum. They say the only responsible way to reuse the site would be to make sure its history is acknowledged in a very visible way, although the paper points out that so far, the commemoration does not figure into the Bratwurst Museum's plans.
OK, Saudi Arabia next, a country which some skeptics say hasn't really changed as much as it claims, but it has allowed Mariah Carey in.
That's right, and Mariah Carey is planning on having a concert there, and despite calls from activists, she is going to go forward with this concert. Rights activists have been urging the singer to cancel it. They say she's helping Saudi Arabia to airbrush its poor human rights record, helping to distract from things like the war in Yemen and its guardianship laws that continue to restrict women's freedoms. Mariah Carey would be the first international artist to perform in Saudi Arabia, though, so you could say it's somewhat groundbreaking, and she has rejected these calls to cancel the concert. Her publicist told reporters that Mariah Carey has accepted the opportunity as a positive step towards the dissolution of gender segregation.
We've just got time to head to California finally, in a surprise for some national park workers. returning after the president's famous government shutdown.
That's right. They returned to their park to find that the beach had been overtaken by elephant seals, around 90 of them, to be exact, many who were pregnant mothers and babies. Now, usually the federal park employees at this beach guarded this part of the beach to deter the seals from making their homes there so that humans could continue to enjoy it. Well, those federal employees were not deemed essential during the partial shutdown, and so during that shutdown, the seals got to take over, and now they can't get rid of them. The Washington Post reports that some of the squatters, these seals, weigh as much as a car, so you can imagine hard to remove. As a result, the beach has not yet been able to reopen to humans, although the park rangers are exploring options like giving guided tours of the new seal colony.
Alison, thank you very much. That's it for the Press Review. You can catch up with that and the rest of the news, of course, on our website.